It's been a rough year, but with the help and commitment of some real-life heroes in our community, we survived. We're still here, still creating, still building, still moving mountains. We're still serving our customers, still building our networks. We're not just surviving, we're thriving. And we couldn't have done it without the help of all the people on the front lines, keeping us safe and taking care of our community. The paramedics, the nurses, the healthcare workers, the teachers. We've depended on them this year like never before. We honor them today. This is their story.
My name is Christy Newsham. I am an elementary school teacher. I teach 3rd grade, and this is my 18th year teaching, actually, all of them in Kirkwood.
My name is Jason Hutchins. I'm a detective for the Kirkwood Police Department, and I've been at Kirkwood for just over a year, going on 2 years.
My name is Andrew Huber. I'm the Chief Operating Officer and one of the owners of Martha's Hands Home Care Services.
My name is Rodney Douglas, and I am the Supervisor of Respiratory Care, and I've been here for 15 years.
My name is Tracy Behrens. I'm the charge nurse in the ICU. I recently just took over the telemetry floor as well.
My name is Timothy Whalen. I'm a paramedic firefighter. Been here going on 12 years now.
Definitely figuring out how to use Zoom was interesting at first. I'm so thankful for it though. But learning how to use like breakout rooms and how to create the environment we would create in the classroom in a virtual world.
Law enforcement in general, public service in general, is kind of an up-close and personal type of business. So for us to provide the services that we need to, we have to be within, close proximity to people, and that can sometimes, be a little scary, especially with COVID. We weren't sure, what it was or how it would affect us starting out.
We also had to look at securing personal protective equipment. So we had to all of a sudden source new supplies that we'd never needed to source before and were in now extremely high demand.
We're not doing field trips. We're not having assemblies. Some of those things that when I think back to my elementary school experience, those are moments I'll remember forever, and we're not having the opportunity to have those experiences.
It was very emotional because a lot of things that we tried and thought the patient would get better, they didn't get better. So yeah, this has probably been the most difficult time that I've ever seen and faced in 35 years of doing respiratory.
When COVID was kind of hot and heavy and we still didn't know 100% what was going on, there was a clinic here in town that I guess their underground parking garage was kind of like a ground zero for COVID testing and for treatment of people with COVID-like symptoms. And we received a call to go down there to assist the fire department. Initially it was for one patient that had fallen ill that needed to be transported to a more skilled facility. And as I was en route there, the dispatch advised that there was another patient that went down with COVID-like symptoms at the same little makeshift hospital they had going on. And when I got there, it was pretty hectic. It looked like something kind of like a post-apocalyptic movie. You went down in this basement. There were people with masks and gowns, and everyone was segregated. Some people were inside their vehicles that were like isolated. So it kind of reminded you of like a military field hospital.
The PPP loan was incredibly important to fund our team members, to keep them working, keep them being paid even when they weren't working because of an exposure, and then paying extra for those who were working during the real extreme times of March, April, and May when the county had a shutdown. We gave them hero pay because we never stopped. Some businesses were able to just shut down, or they say, hey, we're gonna go into work from home mode, and we ramped up. Our work doubled overnight.
So I would say my biggest challenge was not seeing my family. And you're already dealing with some pretty not knowing situations and tougher situations at work, and then not to have that backup at home, or just that whenever you get home.
Time my father got COVID about the same time I did. my symptoms lasted, a couple, 3 weeks, about a month or so, kind of subsided, lost my taste and smell and everything. His symptoms kind of got worse. Mine kind of got better, his progressively got worse, and he went into the hospital and then went to the ICU, then had to get put on the ventilator, and he ultimately passed away, didn't make it. So it's like it was very tough for all of us, because I was going through it here at work and then going through it, at home with the family.
We're placing caregivers into their homes to provide one-on-one intimate care where they cannot keep socially distanced. They have to do hands-on care. We found, basically had to turn on a dime come mid-March and create a whole new set of protocols, procedures, and guidance for 300 plus caregivers and 200 plus clients overnight, with very little information and often conflicting information from government entities and other resources. So it was a monumental task, and it wasn't hypothetical, it wasn't theoretical, it was real. I was placing people for their work into an assignment that could possibly kill them.
Later on, we started receiving a lot of emails from patients' families that they would print off and bring into us, that we would read to them. So when people found out that we were doing that, we even had housekeepers coming in, and they're like, "You shouldn't be the only. This should not just be your burden." And we had a couple of housekeepers that would sit down and read the emails to the patients and hold their hands for a little bit, just so that they weren't alone.
Thought about the first day that we came back in person, and it actually makes me emotional. I'm sorry. But all of those months of seeing these little faces in squares, and then to see them coming back in these different conditions, but just how excited they were to be there. I couldn't sleep. It was like Christmas Eve. Just knowing that I was going to get to see them. And even if we bump elbows, that's the new fist bump or high five. Just to actually connect with each other and to see their smiles behind those masks and how their eyes changed when they saw each other. And it was just probably one of the greatest moments in my career.
I think that we've all become acutely aware of our actions, that what we do affects others and our inactions. If we don't do something, it also affects our neighbors, it affects our friends, and it affects strangers that we don't even know. So I think it kind of made us more aware of what we're doing and how it can affect other people.
The one thing that this did was it brought people closer together as a community.
I'll tell you one thing we did. There was a little girl, young lady, she was selling masks, I guess online. She was making them and selling them. And she was taking the profits and going out and giving it to different businesses around. And she came and delivered popcorn to us at the firehouse. I mean, it's just things like that they're unexpected. And it's just at this time when you think everything's so grim, and you get a knock on the front door and someone says, "Hey, I know it's not much, but here's some popcorn. I was thinking about you guys. Hoping you're okay." And she took time out of her day and her life to come and do this for not just us, but the police department and different small local businesses. And absolutely amazing.
If you survived, if your company is still upright 12 months later, there are a lot. First of all, pat yourself on the back, right? You made it through 12 months of probably the most challenging economic, health-related, emotional challenge of our lifetime. This is our Pearl Harbor, if you will. And it really affected every part of our lives. So if you're standing, first of all, pat yourself on the back, right? You're a success.